How's it going? Hello and welcome back to part 2 of the mongoDB crash course. So we're going to carry on with looking at some more basic commands which will give you a head start in learning mongoDB and in being able to use mongoDB. First things first, we need to make sure that we are using the correct database. So we're at the correct place here. We've cleared the screen. We can sort the data by using sort with the find method. So for example, to sort by the field street, we can have either -1 for showing us the results in alphabetically descending order, or we can have just 1 for showing us the results alphabetically ascending order. So let's have a look at the code for this. Not a comma, a dot. So here we've got our find method, and here we have our sort method. It's going to sort on street, and it's going to show the results by street in ascending order. So let's run that. To make the results more readable, let's run that again using the pretty method. And I've done it again. It's not a comma, it's a dot. And here we've got our results, but notice that the street name is in ascending order. What if we wanted to count how many documents we have with a particular field? Well, for this we can use the count method. We're going to use the count method to count how many documents have a particular price. So let's have a look at the code. We've got the find method again. The field we're interested in is price. The price that we would like to find any records that have a price of 20,000. And we would like to count how many records we have that have a price of 20,000. We can run this code and we see that we have 1 record. If we want to check just some documents, the first 2 documents in our collection, we can use the limit method. So the limit method, this is how it would go. So it's db addresses. Once again, we're using the find method with the limit method. Now, with the limit method, we can specify how many documents to show. So, for example, we can show 2 documents. And we should run this with the pretty method so that we get a nice readable output. And we can see here that we've got 2 documents. We could, for example, if we don't want to see 2 documents, we could change it to just 1 and just see the first document in our collection. And here we can see the first document in our collection. We can chain the sort method to the limit method if we wanted to sort and limit at the same time. So this is how we would do it. So here we have our sort method. We're going to sort on the field street. The -1 means it's going to be in alphabetically descending order, and we want to see the first 3 documents. And obviously we have our pretty method, so it's nice and easily readable. And here we've got our 3 documents, and we can see from the street name that it is in alphabetically descending order. So you can see we can change things on just like JavaScript. We can also use for each if we want to, for example, print out each street. We're going to use a variable called r. In fact, we don't have to call it r. We can call this variable anything we like, and we need to use this in the for each function. So let's have a look at the code first. So here we've got our for each, and we've got our function, and we've got this variable r. So r will be the number of times that it's going to print out each of our fields, and the field that we're interested in is street. Let's run this, and here we've got the streets. with the print method, we can also use concatenation. So for example, if we wanted to print out the phrase, "the road is," and the name of the road, we can do this using concatenation. We'll bring up the last piece of code and we'll add some concatenation to the print function. Let's run this code. And here we can see it's printed out "the road is" and then the name of the road. If, for example, you wanted to find one specific document based on a keyword, you can use find. And for this, there is a specific command that you need to use, and that command is find one. So we're using the find one method to find a street that's called King's Road. And here we have the document that has King's Road in it. To update a document, we use the update method. This method requires all the fields to be included in the update method. Otherwise, the update will not occur. But you do have the option to create a new document with the field and the data that you populated the update method with. The first parameter will identify the document we want to update. So here, what we'll do is we'll want the document that has the street field with the data second street. So let me just type the code out first and then we can discuss it. So what we'd like to do is we would like to update the document that has second street in it. And what we'd like to do is we want to change the street name to Cat Road, and we want to change the door number to 0. Now here we've got this command Upsert. So if there is no street by the name of second street, then it would come, if we didn't have Upsert, it would not do anything, nothing would happen. But with Upsert, a new record will be created with street Cat Road and the door number 0. So we'll run this code, and we've got here that there was a right result, and there was one document that was matched. There was no upsert, in other words, no new document was created, and this tells us that there was one that was modified. So let's have a look at that. Right, we've run the command, so now let's check if it's actually worked. And here we can see there is Cat Road and the door number has been changed to 0. So one record quite correctly has been updated. $sign in front of it to indicate that this is an operator. So we'll have a look at an example of this. I'll clear the screen. The operator that we're looking at is the increment operator. It will increment a number. And the thing that we want to increment, the field that we want to increment, is the price. We want to increment the price by 100. And this is going to look for King's Road, and it will do the update by incrementing the price by 100. So let's run this, and we can see here that it's matched one document, no upsert, and it was modified. There was one modification. So let's check if this has worked. And here we can see King's Road, and we can see that the price has been increased to 10,100. We can also rename fields. So for example, we can rename the door number field to house number. Let's have a look at the code for that. So we once again are using the update method, and we're using the rename operator. So the field that we're interested in renaming is door number, and we want to change that to house number. And the right result tells us, yes, there was one document that was matched, no upserts, and one was modified, and we can check that. And we can see here for King's Road, the change has occurred, house number. All the others still remain as door number. MongoDB can also have sub-documents. This would be equivalent in a relational database for a lookup table. So for example, if we have the type of house, if the house is detached, semi-detached or terraced, attached to the main table, a lookup table that will tell you what type of house it is, the type of house, detached, semi-detached or terraced. And for this you'd need to create a foreign key that links to the primary key in the main table. Well, with Mongo, you can simply embed the type inside the address collection. Of course, you can have a separate collection for it if you want to, but doing it this way by embedding the type, what you'll find is that it makes it easier in a number of situations. So I'll put in the code first and then we'll discuss this. We're going to use the update method to update the address with a sub-document that records the build information of a property. So here's our build information. The type will be, is it detached? So here this one will be detached. Other alternatives could be semi-detached or terraced. We're including the type of material that the property is built from and the date when the property was built. So we're going to run this and we can see that there was one record that was matched. There was 0 upserted and 1 was modified. And we can check which one this was by using the find command. So specifically, we're going to look at this property First Road, and we can run this command. And we can see here that our sub-document build has been included. So for this property on First Road, the type is detached, and the material that it's made from is brick and slate, and the date when it was constructed. So what's the advantage of having a sub-document? We're using the command line specifically because you would use this if you were building an application that uses mongoDB at the back end. And if your application frequently retrieves the build data, it would be optimal to embed that build data as an entity into the address data. Okay, if we wanted to find an address that had build that was detached, we could do a query on the embedded field. So here we have our find command. The name of our sub-document was build, and type is a field within the build sub-document, and we're looking for anything that is detached. So we'll run this command, and we can see here that there is a document that does have a detached type of build, and that's for First Road. We can specify a match using a query operator. We can use that to specify conditions. So for example, if we wanted to find an address that cost less than 40,000, we can use the less than operator. So let's have a look at the code for that. So we're using the find method again, and we're interested in a price less than 40,000. So remember, the $sign means that this LT less than is an operator. So if we run this, and we can see here there is there is a property. If we use the pretty method, it makes it easier to read. And we can see here that there are two properties that are less than 40,000. So the one on King's Road and the one on First Road, both are less than 40,000. So all the examples that I've given you should give you a taste of MongoDB. In the description below, I have a link to a cheat sheet that will help you. Basically, it has all the commands that we've been using in both the first part and in this part. You can also find a lot more commands in the documentation for MongoDB. I hope this video will give you a head start, and I hope that you've enjoyed this video. So thank you for watching, and if you found this useful, then don't forget to subscribe and please like, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.